Okay, let's get started.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. If this is the first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can get notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title and also probably by my shirt, today's video I'm going to be giving you my full review with spoilers of the iconic, the classic, the ultimate masterpiece, Scream, directed by Wes Craven and released in 1996. Now, the reason why I want to do this review now is because we are just even less than 2 weeks away from the 6th installment in the Scream franchise. We had Scream 5 last year. It was a total success. In my opinion, it was a hell of a good one. I did a review on that. And of course, I'm going to be reviewing Scream 6. But before we got into that, I thought it would be cool for you guys to actually know my whole opinion on the first film. And you can probably tell that I am very excited. Now, as always, all my reviews include spoilers. If you don't want those, you have never seen Scream, maybe you're even planning on watching the first to the 5 since Scream 6 is coming, this is not the video for you, because I'm going to be spoiling the whole thing, of course, including who is the killer. And I will not be doing a spoiler-free review. I am very sorry. But saying all the disclaimer and that, let's get into the video. Scream follows a year after the murders of her mother. A teenage girl is terrorized by a new killer who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. Now, to give a brief summary of the story, the film opens with, in my opinion, one of the best opening scenes, not just in horror, but in cinema history, and I am pretty sure that many people agree with me. We have the famous phone call of Ghostface with Casey Becker that is portrayed by Drew Barrymore. A fun fact about this is that Drew Barrymore was basically framed as the protagonist of the film, so imagine everyone's surprise when she's killed in the first 15 minutes by this killer that is called Ghostface. The killer basically tricks her by the phone, and he leaves the corpse in her house and her parents find her. Like I said, it's a very important scene on the genre and in cinema. It really changed the game. This scene is actually also inspired by the 70s film When a Stranger's Call. That the beginning of the film is very similar, but without the killing. The whole concept of all the phone calls and the tricks and being creepy all came from When a Stranger's Call. Now, the same night, we have the introduction of the actual protagonist of the story, that is Sidney Prescott. She is just minding her business in her room while her boyfriend, Billy Loomis, appears by her window, and he says one of my favorite quotes of the whole film.
The Exorcist was on. Got me thinking of you.
I just love that quote, honestly. Now, they start to kiss and they are on the bed, but quickly we realize that there's something wrong between these two in that department. And is Sydney's mother was killed a year prior to this in a very violent way, and she even identifies the killer. That after that, she hasn't been able to reconnect with her boyfriend, at least in that department. And you can see that he's actually frustrated by it, but is trying to be patient. Now, the next morning, everyone finds out that Casey Becker was killed. They don't know who did it. They have no details about what actually happened. But of course, the whole school is freaking out. Here's when we have the other introductions of the characters of the story. We have Stu Matcher, that is Billy Loomis' best friend, and Tatum, that is Sydney's best friend, and it's Stu's girlfriend. And we have Randy Mix, that he is a huge horror film fan. He's going to be bringing us the infamous Rules to Survive a Horror movie. And we also have Dewey, that he is from the police department, and he is Tatum's brother. And adding up to the group, the reporter Gail Weathers. Now, she believes that the man that was accused of killing Sydney's mother is actually innocent and he was framed, and it was someone else. Of course, Sydney doesn't like her because, of course, he's messing with Sydney's mother's death. So they don't like each other. Of course, that's something that we can see very early on the film. Now, Ghostface actually have a phone call with Sydney. He tries to kill her, but he's unsuccessful. And he's going to be successful in killing the director of the school and Sydney's friends. He kills Tatum, kills Gail's assistant. He stabs Billy. He also tries to kill Randy Mix. Until, of course, the very end, that is when we have the reveal that Ghostface is not one, but actually two people behind the mask, and is no other than Billy Loomis and Stu Matcher. Now, the whole reason behind him wanting to kill his own girlfriend and everyone else was because
movies don't create psychos, movies make psychos more creative.
the whole reason is that Sidney's mother had an affair with Billy's father, and as a result, Billy's mother and father, of course, they got divorced and she left, leaving Billy with that trauma instead of him. And when he finds out about that, him and Stu are the ones that actually kill Sidney's mother. They were going to frame Sidney's dad because all the time he was captured by them and we have no idea where he was, and he was actually being treated as a suspect. They killed Sidney's mother, and now a year later, on the anniversary of her death, they're going to try to kill her daughter because they are crazy as hell. But after a fight scene, everything is fine and they are both killed. Both Billy and Stu are dead, gone, and Ghostface is supposed to be over. And the film ends with Gail giving the whole report, and Randy and Sidney, they are okay, such as Dewey, although he's hurt at some point in the film, and Sidney's father. Now, of course, we know since we have Scream 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, Ghostface is never actually over, but something that I do really like about this franchise is that every single time we have a different person behind the mask. And it's always related to Sidney until now. Because in case that you don't know this, Scream 6 is going to be the first time that we don't have Sidney Prescott on the story. But at the same time, I am very excited to see what the hell they're going to be bringing since we have the return of Scream 5 survivors. So I am very, very excited. Now, the things that I like about this movie first is the story. I think that the story, although it's a slasher, it's pretty original because it changes the game. Something that I do really like about Scream is the whole concept about making fun of slashers while basically doing the same thing that the slasher does. This is why the rules about surviving a horror movie, that is, don't have sex. Of course, we know that on every single slasher, we're going to have teenagers having sex. Don't do drugs and don't do alcohol. Of course, they are always doing drugs and alcohol, and never say I'll be right back because you won't be back. Those three rules are always broken in every single slasher, and even on Scream, they are broke once again. So I think that the fact of making a slasher while making fun of it is the greatest thing ever. Wes Craven did an amazing job here. Like, he was a genius. Like, he reinvented, to a certain extent, the horror genre with this film. You can really tell that I do really love Scream. It's one of my favorite franchises. Like, for me, in my opinion, it's one of the most solid ones because Scream 2 is very, very good. I actually did the ranking last year. Of course, that ranking is going to change once Scream 6 is out. But generally speaking, I truly believe that Scream is a hell of a good franchise and it's a very good way to introduce someone to the horror genre. Like, for real, I think that this is a very good franchise. It's quite short compared to maybe Halloween or Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, that we have way more movies. We only have 6 now. I mean, I think that's pretty okay. The second thing that I do really like is the whole costume. I think that Ghostface is a very good costume. It's simple, but it's hella creepy and it's very iconic. Like, it has become very iconic over the years. And also the knife is a very specific knife. Of course, the voice changer, I think that is pretty unique to a certain extent and very easy to recognize and also very easy to remember. Because something that I do really like about the Ghostface costume is that the changes are very minimal. You're going to realize that the mask, they would change just a little bit. It doesn't happen like, for example, Halloween or Friday the 13th, when we see that there are major changes on the mask. At least on the mask, and when it comes to Jason, also on the clothing. But we all know that Michael Myers has some big changes throughout the franchise with the mask. Sometimes are hella creepy and like, what the hell you guys were thinking? But in the case of Ghostface, they're very minimal. But if you pay close attention, you're going to notice. Even on Scream 6, we're supposed to have 3 different masks. I'm going to be putting the picture right here, and you can really see on this picture that the details of each mask it's a little bit different. Like the whole costume is the same one, but the masks, they are a little bit different. Of course, this has bring up the theories that it could be the first time that we're having actually 3 instead of 2 or 1, since we have at some point just one ghost face, but usually they're going to be 2, which brings another thing that I do really like. For some people, they say that Scream is very easy to predict and that you can really tell who is the killer. That wasn't my case. The first time I ever saw Scream, I was very, very surprised for who was the person behind the mask. What I like is that they aren't predictable in the sense of the killer. Like, yes, maybe some of them a little bit more, but it takes a while. Like, at the end of the day, I have never actually got it right. Never. Not even on Scream 5. I never got it right who was the person behind Ghostface. But something that I will say is my favorite reveal is on Scream 4. That Ghostface is one of my favorites, and that reveal was... I wasn't expecting it. I was in such a shock. I cannot believe it. Of course, if you haven't watched it, I will not be telling you yet, because maybe I will eventually do a review of the whole franchise. Another thing that I do really, really like is Sydney Prescott's character. I think that she's a very good final girl. Neve Campbell, I think that she is amazing. And it's a very strong female character, so I am very sad to not seeing her once again on Scream 6. But that also has been bringing up theories on how the story can change if it's not completely related to her, since this will be the first time that Ghostface is actually targeting someone that is not completely related to Sydney. Well, Scream 5, of course, it wasn't 100% related to Sydney. Like, she had to basically return to Woodsboro because she wasn't the main target, but you get it. And another thing that I do really like about Scream and the whole franchise in general is that it's never the same killer. Something that happens throughout some franchise, especially slashers, is that they're going to kill someone and on the next film, the person is alive. Here, that doesn't happen. Of course, there are many theories that Stu Matcher somehow is alive. I don't think so. Like, honestly, for me to believe that he is alive, I don't know. Like, yeah, we never saw his corpse, but he had a TV on his head. I'm sorry, but there's no way that someone actually survived that. Only time will tell, but for now, it's just a theory that this is actually a warning. A few weeks back, it was actually leaked who is Ghostface on Twitter. I haven't seen it, but I know people that they do have seen it, but no one has actually spoiled it, at least for me. So just be careful out there that spoilers will be coming at any minute once the first reviews comes out or someone leaks something about it. I really hope that they do not, because I don't want to ruin the experience, because that's the thing that I do really like about these films. It's finding out who is the killer, although I have never got it right. I never got it right, but it's fine. Because it's even more shocking for me. It's like, oh, no way. Like, I think that is awesome. Something I do dislike about these films? Nothing. I do not dislike a single thing. For me, Scream is a 5 out of 5. A 10 out of 10 for me is a perfect horror movie. For me, it's one of the most perfect slashers that have ever existed. And it's a very solid franchise, so I think that you can really tell that I am passionate about it, because I do really like you guys don't understand my excitement for Scream 6. You guys don't get it. Like, I mean, Ghostface, it's everything. Like, I don't know how many shirts I already own of him, but it's everything. Like, seriously, I have actually done the costume. I own it in costume, although I want to get a little bit more expensive and more realistic and more close to the film's costume, although it will be more expensive. But definitely I want to own a very good resemble to the original costume. But well, I think that has been all. Like, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have watched all this one. Which one is your favorite? For me, I think that is pretty obvious. That is the first one. The fifth one, I really like it a lot. Also, the fourth one. For me, the one I like less is the third. I don't say that it's bad, but it's the one that I like less and the one I rewatch the less. But I don't hate it. I think that is actually a pretty good closure to the original trilogy. So I think that they're all equally good, but if I ever have to rank it right now, it will be 1, 5, 4, 2, and 3. That will be my ranking for now, because of course now we're having 6 and I don't know yet where I will be ranking it. But well, I think that this is all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Ghosts are real. That much I know.